This show shares compelling stories and experiences of well-known faces and everyday people who change the world in big and small ways. Get ready to open your mind and your heart with Melissa Billie Clark.
Dee Dee Pfeiffer can be seen on ABC's hit show Big Sky that airs every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Central. We dove into so many topics from her animal advocacy, furthering her education, her sobriety, and her hit show that we had to turn this into a two-parter. Enjoy this week as we discuss her love for animals and back to school. We are here with Dee Dee Pfeiffer of ABC's Big Sky. She plays Denise Brisbane. She works with her brother-in-law, famous writer David E. Kelley. She is a mother, a recent college grad with her degree in social work, specializing in homelessness, substance abuse, and mental illness. She's a huge animal advocate and in rescue. She's quite the lady. I was happy to interview her for Pet Lifestyle magazine. I got to know Dee Dee in our conversation, and she's really larger than life, but she's so down to earth. Dee Dee, we are so happy to have you today on Making a Difference, and that's what you do. You make a difference in so many ways. I'd like to start with your animal advocacy. You and I spoke, so you've been away from home for a while.
I think 6 months, 7, 8. Yeah, it's been a long time with the boundaries closed. And yeah, I mean, right now I'm in my bat cave.
Right.
But I only go to the set. I come back. I go and get COVID tested, which is a drive-through on the set.
Right.
It's a week. We're asked to really just not go anywhere where there's people. So it's quite isolating. And that goes hand in hand with why I've become friends with any bird that comes to my balcony and given a name and personality. Oh, I got also pigeons and ravens.
You are too much.
And red-headed popcorn baby birds. They're little ones with little red head. They're like, and they go around. I call them my red-headed popcorn baby birds.
Well, we're glad that you have some company over there.
Yeah. My
You
parents
have to.
institutionalized me. They're like, okay, I think she's going from like the cat lady, Miss Puppies, whatever, the working dog, Rottweilers, Pit Bulls, you know, the ones with the working dogs.
Right.
They're misunderstood. They're very protective. But all dogs, when they're on the ground, if you were to go down there with them and look at their point of view, that's their territory.
Sure.
That's their territory down there. Our territory's up here. That's their territory. And I had some really smart animal people around me just explain to me the basics of respect and territory. And that animals are black and white. That's it. We don't have to fall down that rabbit hole. Right? So why would you instill your child trusting with an animal? I know we want the dogs and the kids to all be together. I get that, and I love that. I just think there's a way to do it, to be responsible.
Sure.
Because the dog gets euthanized, otherwise doesn't understand. It was just instinctually behaving, and the kid gets their face bit or worse. So I think it's just about educating yourself on those dogs. Because, for instance, a poodle's going to bite too, but a poodle's going to bite. But when a Rottie bites, it could be a death bite. It's because the power of the jaws, but it's still a bite. The dog is still saying, "Hey, I don't like it. I don't understand this, so I'm gonna attack," or so.
What advice do you give to someone who's thinking of getting a Rottweiler or a working dog, but they're a little afraid? I mean, they're beautiful animals and they serve a purpose, a big purpose.
First thing you don't need to do with a working dog is to teach them to be aggressive. That just doesn't, it's counterintuitive. They already are a powerful, strong dog that when loved, they're going to protect you forever. They're like a really good boyfriend, hopefully. Well, I don't have one of those, but if I had one again, hopefully he'd be really protective over me and vice versa, right?
Right.
And with all my children, I'm mama bear, right? So you don't need to teach an aggressive working dog to be protective or mean. They're already going to do that for you just because they're going to love you. Right. So that just doesn't make sense. There's an owl next door, a baby owl that fell out of a tree. I've saved rattlesnakes, you name it. Anything that needs a little help, I'm going to help them.
Were you ever afraid though, like to get bit, or did you care about yourself at the time, or you weren't really thinking about it?
Yeah. The rattlesnake was a little tricky. He was in the middle of the road and somebody had clobbered him, but he was still alive. And I thought, people are going to keep running over this snake. This is messed up. This is not the way it's supposed to be. Right. And I have nothing to do right now. I'm just going home and drop my boys off at school. So I pulled over and I happened, don't ask me why, I had 2 brooms in the back of my truck. Look, to this day, don't know why I had 2 brooms. Anyways, I had 2 brooms, and I thought, well, this is handy. So I took the brooms and took the snake and brought him to the side, and there was a hole, a snake hole, and he went down in there. And I figured if he was going to go to the light, that's how he should do it, in there, or he could heal in there. But he shouldn't keep getting nailed by cars.
Yeah.
It didn't feel right to me. It just, his soul, the little guy had a soul, and it needed to be either healed or go to the light in the hole, you know.
Yeah.
It just took a second. Yeah. And I thought, hope I don't get bit. But again, if you educate yourself on how to handle these animals,
yeah,
you know, yeah, like people who do alligators, they don't just jump in there and start wrangling an alligator. They're doing, and clearly my sister had no idea what I was doing either, because I graduated in 1982.
Right.
Were you born in 80? Anyway.
1980.
Oh, this is what I'm trying to say. No computers, no phones. Dinosaurs pretty much were still walking around. But thesis statement, algebra really was right-brained. My left brain was not even developed yet. So they appreciated that. And I was always the oldest one in the classrooms. And it was a great journey. And so it was like 4 years to get my AA, 2 years to get my bachelor's of psych in another community college. And then from that, and it's so funny because I've always wanted to help people and help animals. And yet I kind of forgot about home base.
Right. That's right. And that's what happens all the time.
I never understood when on the plane, when they said, put the oxygen mask on yourself first before your children. I remember thinking, that doesn't even make any sense to me. I'm always about my children and other people. I would always put that on other people before myself.
Yeah.
Rehab to figure out what they meant by that. Put the darn thing on yourself first, because I'm no good to anybody else until I'm like, got my feet planted, my head on straight, and then go that way, right? I didn't get that. And I finally, in my 50s, understand that. And now it's like I have a rebirth in my 50s. So I want to tell everyone out there, you're never too old to get sober. You're never too old for recovery, whatever your addiction is.
Yeah.
You're never too old to go to school and learn and get tested. You probably have a learning disability. I bet you $5 you're not, you know.
Sure.
My son was struggling like crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. I had him tested. Sure enough, he has the same learning disabilities I do. Got him some to his teachers and say, hey, first of all, thank you guys so much. You guys, thank you. You got a lot of kids going on in there. And I just need a little story about Maximus or Braxton, which Braxton first, but smart boy, but he's going to need a little more help. We got him what's called a 504 plan.
Yeah.
Well, 5, that's a freeway. 504 plan. I'm dyslexic too.
It's okay.
504 plan, which is not an IUP, which costs the school a lot of money.
Right.
Accommodations, so he has a fighting shot and a chance. And then my job is to make sure they don't feel like they're different or less than or damaged or different. It's like, wait a minute, well, okay, you can be different, that's okay.
That's cool.
Hey, listen, I wouldn't even, there's no way I would have been able to get past my first degree had I not had to embrace that me and a whole bunch of us don't think the same way everybody else does, and that's okay.
Right.
That's okay. Because at the end of the day, we're all going to take the same test, and I'm going to get an A, but I just have to get there, take a little bit different path and a journey.
That's key. Can we dive into your sobriety for a minute and just?
Sure. Yeah, I just talked about it yesterday, first time on another podcast, and something that is hard for me to talk about, only because I'm still clearly influenced by society stigma. I'm loud and proud. Ask everybody on Big Sky. I'm like, hi, DD Pfeiffer. I'm out of my back cave. I'm here to work. You guys will be sorry now. We're going to have some fun. Oh, and by the way, I'm sober. Right. And they're like, did she just say that out loud? And then other people come on the set and they'll be like, hey, I'm 15 years sober. Hey, I'm 10 years sober. And I'm like, hey, why are you whispering?
That's right.
Why are you whispering? And they kind of laugh and giggle. And I go, seriously, why are all of us whispering in recovery? Why do we still hold so much shame? Because we have, you know, it doesn't define me. I would love to be a normie, somebody who, I'm sure you guys, you go have a glass of wine and that's it. That's beautiful. I can do that when I'm being tricky and I'm trying to make you think I'm not something that I really am. because only you know who you are inside. And I knew that I wasn't the best I could be because my dad had alcoholism, and there was all.
Do you have a vice now? What
Addiction is whack-a-mole. Okay. Addiction is whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
So I smoked and drank. So when I quit drinking, my smoking just, if it could, it somehow went even more crazy. And then I thought, well, this makes no sense, Dee Dee. And when I was younger, I had like food issues, anorexia, bulimia, just, again, whack-a-mole. And when I got older, it turned to alcohol, and like, it's whack-a-mole. So, love addiction when I was younger. I mean, so then I realized, okay, you're not going to die of alcoholism, but you're going to die now of lung cancer because now you're smoking like a chimney. Right. So I had to use the same like crazy, but it's there. Like when I did my interview yesterday, I didn't want to drink, but I wanted to run away from those feelings, which is why I used to drink, right?
Right.
I know sitting in it is not good either, but leaning into it. So I leaned into how uncomfortable and vulnerable I felt telling my story of addiction. So I was like, okay, well, instead of punishing yourself with chips, why don't you just like treat yourself to some chips? How about you don't have to have the whole bag?
Right.
You have the bag today because it is a treat. And then you get your butt on the treadmill and work that stuff off.
Do you do meditation? Do you do breathing techniques or?
I should. I was taught all of that. I think it really does work.
Yeah.
I think my meditation is when I'm on the balcony looking at the birds.
Okay. That's meditation, Dee Dee.
Look at the difference in their color, and I'll see one that's like really white with some pigeon, and I'm like, oh, are you half dove? Are you? It just kind of like, it's really calm. I think anything that calms you is meditation.
Yeah.
Gets you out of your thought box. I call it my monkey mind. I have monkey mind. Jumping.
Yeah.
Focus on one thing, one pigeon or one seagull named Gilligan, who's like a little puppy. He's a puppy seagull. Things that I found joy in to produce those chemicals in my brain that make you tingly over and feel good.
Sure.
And I have to transfer my addiction from that to that. That's why, for me, these animals, these birds, as random as it is. By the way, it could be squirrels. It could be anything. As long as it's like alive. To me, I'm going to find it interesting. I believe in aliens. Why not?
Okay.
I love traveling. I want them to come take me to their universe because I'm dying to go travel. It's been COVID. I haven't been able to travel. Right?
That's so funny. Well, let me ask you a question. When you wake up in the morning, do you feel proud of yourself? And do you have
higher power? Also, the thing is that if you think you're all that in a bag of chips, that's a pretty lonely life to live.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of saying I don't really need anybody else or anything else. And I don't think that's true. I think people do need people. Yeah. I'm only who I am today with all the incredible people in my life. And that includes my children, who are a huge part of my sobriety.
Well, you talk a lot. Last time you spoke about ego, and I like that very much about you. Ego. People let ego take over. It could work to your advantage. It could be a good thing sometimes, but most of the time.
Wow, she's a bitch. She's an asshole. What a jerk. Or do I want to leave the room and have them say, oh, I like her, or she's funny, or wow, she said something that makes me kind of think a little bit.
That's right.
Or she's a good mom. That's a big one.
That's right.
Are you going to bring light into that room and leave light behind you? Or are you going to bring in dark? Now, let me ask you a question. When was the last time ego was ever associated with light? When was ego ever associated with leaving the room and having what a great person? Wow, she's got filled with ego. I love her.
That's right. You can't compete with ego. You can't compete.
Kind of like the devil in there. It's like, or it's the dark, the yin and the yang. It's the yin and the yang, and it's not the light part of the yang or the yin or the
This is an industry of very high ego. So when I get to meet and interview people like you, I'm like, oh, thank you, Lord. Thank you for this beautiful soul. And I thank God I get a lot of them. It's very far and few in between. So, we just, thank you. Once again, you have me speechless.
Thank you. Because this is why it was easy for me to take a permanent pause on acting 10 years ago.
Yes.
Real people. You know what I mean? I wanted to be around real people. And don't get me wrong. There's ego there too. I didn't like it there in the academia world any more than I liked it in the acting world. Yeah. But, you know, if being a real person, an authentic person means being salmon, then put a little butter on me. And I said, oh, well, this was an acting choice. And she said, like, not picking up your lines. And I was like, I'm hard listening to you, your character. I'm acting.
David, your brother-in-law, and say, hey.
No, and I'll tell you why. Because David and I love David. I love him, but like I love all my brothers and sisters and their siblings.
Right.
Brother-in-law, sisters-in-laws.
They're partners.
Yeah, right. He's like David. We go fishing. But the thing is that we never talk shop. I don't talk shop with my sister either. I'm gonna do a little bit. Like I'm like, what's going on with my neck? It's all getting woggly, gobble neck. And she's like, oh, I got the good lotion for you. Mom's neck. I go, I have mom's neck. It's gross. I love her, but I don't want her neck. So, but we don't talk shop. And so when he offered me this job, it was very. He threw me a lifeline, by the way. He didn't know. I told you that story?
Yes, you just got out of, you were done with your master's, and it's like, what am I going to do now?
Literally just finishing my master's at the Department of Mental Health, doing my internship, and he texted me out of nowhere. He's never texted me. Hey, you still acting? I have a great role for you. I was like, oh.
Wow.
I was like, did he just offer me a what? Because like you said, I had just finished a 10-year stint in school, had not been working for teeny little gigs here, like $100 here and there just to, you know, some kind of money, and sold my house to pay back all my loans and what have you. So I was starting at a social worker's salary, which is like $50,000 a year, to toe. I was like, how am I going to, I did not know how I was going to make it work. I just knew that I had to stay sober, kept doing the next indicated action, believe in my heart that somehow it was going to work out if I just kept life.
They're answering.
Honestly, even though I was a high functioning alcoholic and I certainly worked as an actor and then, you know, and I was able to do my internship and get A's and write papers and be a mother and all that, I wasn't 100%. And by the way, it's hard. Sobriety is not easy. No. Any addiction is not easy. But guess what? Life isn't it. Oh my God. No, the idea is I kick the other guy's butt, not them kick me. I'm like, that's not what mothers think.
Yeah.
He's kind of into foraging. He's still in school though too, the other one. Foraging. He makes Damascus knives from scratch, you know, foraging and fire. He does that.
Amazing.
And he's like an animal whisperer, Maximus. And Braxton does classic piano. He teaches himself piano like he's a prodigy. He's scary.
These kids amaze me.
Oddballs. The college is not at all like in there, but that's okay. I went to college in my 40s.
Yeah.
Who am I to yell college at them? I mean, and my sister Michelle, doesn't help when your Aunt Michelle defends me when I said, Braxton doesn't want pieces that are manageable. Break it into pieces that are manageable. I absolutely suggest getting assessed for any possible learning disabilities that they may or may not have. I tutored I brought my kids sleeping in my arms, tutoring how to write a research paper because I had no idea. And Braxton was like right here. And always email your professors before the first day and say, hi, my name is Susie and I'm 50 years old. And this is the first time I've ever done this. I'm so excited and I'm so excited to meet you. Hold on. This is my first class, my first journey. You're probably going to see me a lot in office hours. They will love you.
That's right.
I used my real name in college, Dorothy, and they'd go around the room and introduce. And I'm like, I'm Dorothy, and they'd go, oh yeah, I got your email. Hi, Dorothy. Already they know you.
Yes, that's a very good idea.
And they will, I promise you, they will love you because they love the students that want to be there.
Yes.
It's not about the student that has all the answers, because if they could be teaching the class if that's the point. The teacher's not needed if they know all the answers. They want you to ask questions. They want you to say, I'm so sorry, can you explain that? Because I promise you other kids would come to me after the class and say, thank you for asking that question. I was too shy. I didn't understand that either.
Yes.
I literally always sat in the back. I still do. I can see better. But I sat in the back corners. Mm-hmm. And I just watched. And I was really quiet. I didn't raise my hand for the first 2 years. I was shy and embarrassed, and I felt like it wasn't my backyard. Like my backyard, get on a movie set, that's my backyard.
Yes.
That's how a movie set works.
Yes.
But somebody else's backyard. This was their backyard, and I was invited to come to play. Never felt like I belonged because I just didn't understand it. Whereas these kids, most, they came right out of high school, so they're just, they just go right into it. That's probably why I also would go home and drink, because I was just so uncomfortable in my skin. But now looking back, I think it's more about, just leaning into it, which has happened to me. They go, it's okay, it happens to me all the time. Dorothy, will come back to you. And then make you feel like it's okay. Don't worry about it.
Right.
They can see you're nervous. They can see that you feel like that you don't belong. They're going to want you to do well. They're going to root for you. Not all professors. I'm not going to give them all that, because some of them, some are clocking in, and that's fine. But the other ones will literally profoundly make a difference. It's kind of like even your kids. They don't have all fabulous teachers. They get that one or that two that make a difference.
Yeah.
College is the same.
Right. Thank you so much for all this. You're truly one of my favorite people. Is that okay? Because you're so cool. You're too cool. Thank you so much. I'm all messed up here. I had so many questions, but I think we answered them as we went down. Let's talk about Big Sky.
Big Sky, yeah.
That little show that you're on.
ABC Tuesday nights, plug, yeah.
Yes. It's coming on in the fall. Is that when it starts?
Girl, we just came back on last week.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I gotcha.
Sorry, I thought I saw the fall in something. All right.
Well, for whatever it's worth, I haven't seen it. Actually, we came back last week and we just aired last night again. I haven't seen it either. It's okay. I have it recorded. I don't like to look at myself. I love seeing everyone else. Okay, Big Sky is a crazy, 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 wild ride. It's emotionally charged, sexually charged, politically charged. Not politically, but we touch into topics that are like, ooh. We're going to tease you like crazy. Cliffhangerville. If you watch the pilot, and it's hard to talk about this show in case people haven't seen it yet, binge it. It's going to be a good binger. Otherwise, we make you wait once a week, which is fun. Cliffhanger.
So you can't binge this show?
Yeah, Hulu. Go to abc.com or Hulu. A lot of people who haven't seen it are binging it now, and they're like having a great time.
Awesome.
What else about the show? The show is, I put it this way, if you've seen the pilot, one thing I love about Big Sky, nobody's safe. If you've seen the pilot, nobody's safe. As cast members, like, to kill off one of us would make for a fantastic episode. So I love the fact that people go,